Hello everyone and welcome back to more Fantasy Life I. Even though the game has been out for multiple months already, there's always going to be new people coming into the game, and maybe even old players returning that kind of want a refresher about everything you can do. So that's why today I am making the ultimate beginner tips video. I tried cramming as much as I could in here. There's like 22 tips or something, some a bit more impactful than others of course, and these tips range anywhere from things that you should definitely do as beginning players, but also some advanced tips that are still helpful even after you've beaten the main story. So with that, let's get straight to it. After playing the game for about 5 to 10 minutes, you will get access to Eternia Village over here, and you'll be able to change your life. The lives is of course what Fantasy Life is all about, and you really want to get all of them as quickly as possible. There is a total of 12 lives that you can immediately pick up at the start of the game, excluding the farmer and the artist life. You'll have to progress with the story a little bit if you want to unlock these, but all of the other lives I definitely recommend picking up as soon as possible, because that is what makes this game really fun. You don't necessarily have to pick up every single combat life, so if you just want to focus on a specific one, I recommend Hunter, because the Hunter life has the ability to dash like this, which is the quickest way to move around if you don't have access to your mount yet. So that is pretty much it. Just pick up all of the lives as soon as you can, because you want to be able to go to this palm tree for example and cut it down, and you can only do that after you have unlocked the woodcutter life. And of course, if you want a better axe, you will need the carpenter life for that, and if you want some of those materials that you need for the axe, you'll also need like the blacksmith life, probably the tailor and the alchemist life as well if you want to make some good accessories. So it's definitely not a bad idea to pick up all of the gathering and crafting lives as soon as possible. Up next, I want to say that it's definitely not a bad idea to just focus on the story and try completing it as quickly as you can. This game really opens up after you beat the main story, which only has 7 chapters actually, and that's for multiple reasons. One of course being that you unlock the farmer and the artist life eventually. I believe it's chapter 3 for the farmer and chapter 4 for the artist life, but it really doesn't take that long. The second reason is that you unlock more islands over here. So first up, you're going to unlock the Faraway Island, then you unlock the Tropica Isles, and finally you unlock Swollen Island. And all of these islands give you pretty easy access to some great bosses and also some new resources like these sky trees over here on Swollen Island. There's also some things that you can only get after beating the main story, such as the mysterious slates and the dark fire, which you use to open up a couple of different gates in the game. You might have come across some of those purple gates that you can't actually go through. You can only do that after beating the main story. So don't worry about the game being over after you have beaten the main story, because it really just begins starting from that point. If you've gone to Gynermosia and you've beaten this shrine over here, you will have gotten your first strangeling, and if you bring it back to the goddess statue over here, she can revert it to its human form. Now you will need to spend 100 Celestia's gifts in order to do so, which if you don't time travel is kind of a limited resource. You can also get Celestia's gifts by doing the activities over here for example, but you really don't get a lot of them. So you want to make sure that you level up or rank up your island as soon as possible. Over here I have an island rating of 5, and if I were to revert strangelings or power them up, it's the exact same cost for that. It only costs me 40 Celestia's gifts right now. So compared to the 100, I am saving 60 Celestia's gifts every single time I revert a strangeling. I made a full video covering how you can actually rank up your island to the level of 5, and it is really easy to do so. Definitely recommend checking out my video if you want to rank up your island as quickly as possible, and that way of course save on a bunch of Celestia's gifts. If you've unlocked the guild office already, inside you will find a very fun plushling, and that is going to be Marco over here. You will need to have the second guild office upgrade, which I believe you get that after you unlock enough buddies, and after you've gotten that, you have the option to increase Marco's shop rating. Now what this does is it primarily unlocks a lot of recipes for you to buy, the most important ones being the stickers and the appliques actually. You also get access to more of the consumables and materials that you can buy, like the gold wheat over here for example. I don't think you can buy this with a shop rating of 1, so it is also going to increase the amount of materials that you can easily purchase to make other stuff with. It is not going to be easy ranking this guy up to a shop rating of 5. You actually need a whole ton of stuff for that, but getting him to a shop rating of 3, which is when you unlock most things that you actually need, is not all that difficult. So definitely recommend doing this as soon as you can. If you want to quickly level up your lives, you can always check out my level 100 videos, but for the crafting lives, especially if you are at a very low level, let's say anywhere between 1 to 30, something really easy that you can do to level up is just mass craft these very easy recipes. Even if you are a level 1 blacksmith, if you have the bronze ingot over here and have enough materials to craft 99 of them, that is going to give you a bunch of EXP. So even if you don't have the best recipes possible to level up your lives, you don't need to go all the way to level 100 straight away. So don't worry about being as efficient as possible with your level ups. You can always grind some easy early levels by mass crafting any of the materials over here. And whenever you level up, of course, don't forget to go to the skill board over here and learn any skills that you can. Over here, for example, I have 18 skill points left left over from my woodcutter, which I could use to get some more critical hit rate, but I'm actually going to save it up to get this triple chop 3 skill. But don't underestimate the power of the skill board. This is actually something pretty helpful to, for example, boost the amount of EXP you can earn for all of the lives, or to just boost your raw damage or crafting. I feel like some people just might neglect these skill boards totally, so don't forget to check it whenever you level up. You might be able to unlock some cool stuff over here. If you have Marco shop rating added too, you will have access to the white woolly sticker recipe, and at that point you actually have access to the best money farm in the game. Over here it only requires 1 red paint, 1 desert lock, and 1 sheep fleece to craft, and it is really easy to make. So the only thing you need to do is buy as many of these materials as you can, and then just keep making these in batches of 99. So as you see, I have 999 of them in my bag already. So if I make these stickers right now, which I am an overpowered artist, I just do that in one shot. If I make these right now, that's going to be 248 of those stickers, and the excess items were converted into Dosh. So I don't even need to go ahead and sell those to Marco, but you can also manually sell them over here in the shop, of course. So if you sell 999 of them, that is going to be 400,000 Dosh that you can get. Using this trick, it is impossible to be short on money in this game. One good use of spending your money is by doing the infinite Redux stone trick. I don't fully remember at which point you unlock the collector shop over here, but you can talk to this girl in the capital of Mysteria and exchange any of your equipment for Redux stone fragments. So right here, for example, I'd get 50 fragments for this one apocalypse sword, and if I were to turn in a bunch more weapons, tools, shields, or armor pieces, I would get some Redux stones. I'll explain a little bit later what you actually need these for. Now, the way that we are going to use our money to get infinite Redux stones is by talking to this girl over here in the armor shop, and we are going to keep buying the long or short capes. So just keep doing it like this. If you have like a turbo controller, that is going to make this a very easy process. Keep buying as many long capes as your inventory can hold, pretty much. So I just bought 30 of these long capes, and selling all of these or exchanging all of these is going to give me 15 Redux stones. That literally took like 1 or 2 minutes to do, so it's very easy to get Redux stones in this game. Now, what do you actually need Redux stones for? Well, if you have leveled up enough in your life, you can unlock the remake node over here on the skill board, and doing that allows you to select remake over here and actually recraft any of the weapons, tools, shields, and armor pieces that you've made. You primarily want to do this to get new equipment skills on them, like right over here. I'll talk about the item drop rate and like EXP up skills a little bit later, but this is what actually makes your pieces of equipment or like your weapons and tools really strong. Like right over here, for example, on this really good hammer already, I put 2 skills that make it easier to craft other metal life tools. This really helps me out a ton whenever I'm crafting. Or right over here, for example, I have a bow with the light element, and I put extra light element damage on it. That is pretty much why you want to remake. It is more of an end game kind of thing. As I said, these tips really range anywhere from beginner tips to tips that are helpful for players that already beat the main story. But just don't underestimate remaking. It is also not only helpful to get more equipment skills or better equipment skills, it is also helpful if you were not able to make this weapon, for example, in the top quality. Like right now, its craft quality is top. If I were to only make this in like a good or great quality, I could remake it and go for a higher quality that way, which is very nice, because if I were to keep remaking this item for better skills and like top quality using the normal materials, that would get really expensive. The dragon tree wing and dragon tree horn are not easy materials to get. Don't look at me having 546 of them. I am a dirty item duper. Up next, we have a tip that is definitely going to be very helpful for people that are trying to complete quests for their lives, more specifically the combat lives. Like over here, for example, we have a quest that requires me to beat 8 bloom serpents, and those are going to be located right over here. However, there's a small problem, and that is that there's only 2 of these. So what I would have to do right now in order to respawn them is go all the way back outside of this stupid forest, which takes kind of a long time. Then I'd have to come back all the way over to this place to get 2 more of the bloom serpents, and I'd have to repeat that 2 more times. That takes a pretty long time, but if you have the teleportation gate over here, you can just use it to go to Gynomosia. It's just gonna put you in the last location that you visited over here, which also might be something useful to know. And the exact same thing happens when you use the teleportation gate again. It is gonna transport you to the last place you were. So that's gonna be right over here, and all of the enemies will have respawned as well. So this is way quicker than going out all the way out of the forest, running all the way back. The only thing you need to do is use the teleportation gate, go to Gynomosia, use the teleportation gate again, and all of the enemies over here will have respawned. A couple more fast travel things that might be helpful to know. Of course, you can always fast travel to these dragon locations. Like over here in Faraway Island, for example, there's 4 different fast travel locations. But if you, let's say, just want to craft something real quick, what you could do is press the right button on the D-pad that pops up the life screen over here, and then you could do 2 things. If you just want to go to the life master for any one of the lives, you can just press Y over here, and you'll go to the life master for the hunter life. So boom, just like that, real quick. But if you just want to craft something, if you change into a crafting life this way, it is going to ask you to move to the nearest workbench. So right now, for example, it is also going to transport me to the location of the life master. But even over here in Generosia, if I were to switch to a different crafting life and go to the nearest workbench, it is going to spawn me in one of the workbenches inside of these settlements, provided you do actually have one of these settlements unlocked already, which are basically just more fast travel points over here in Generosia. Up next, a little tip that might be nice for some people to know, I definitely made use of this myself as well, is you can rearrange every single app over here on the Weird Pad. So let's say you access the options quite often, you might just want to put them on the first tab over here. Of course, I don't really access those that often, but I do use the formation screen often. So that's definitely why I want to get it right over here. It might even be better to put it right over here on the top left. But just know that you can reorder and rearrange all of these apps to your liking, and it might be pretty helpful to do so. Something else that might be really nice to know, and I actually do make use of myself as well, is that you can use outfits in this game. Now, these outfits are not going to be the same as the equipment. Basically, the equipment over here is what is going to give you the stats. So for example, the Divine Helm has 130 defense and magic defense. If I equip it in the equipment menu, I am going to get its stats. But if I would not want to have this helm on, for example, I could turn on the invisible hat and you would not see me wearing the helm. Do have to switch to the paladin life for that, of course. So yeah, right over here, if I go and take a look at the equipment for my paladin, I do have the helm on, so I am getting the stats. But in my outfit, I chose to not actually see it. So that's something pretty cool that you can do, and you can do this separately for each life. So there's like a total of 15 included with the brand new life, 15 different outfit sets that you can make, which is really cool in my opinion. There is a really important thing that you should know about the combat in this game, and that is that a couple of enemies, more importantly bosses, have elemental weaknesses. The King Wooly over here, for example, is weak to dark element, and he resists light element damage. So right now I am attacking with one of the best swords in the game, the best light elemental sword, and I'm dealing like 300 damage, 500 with a crit. Really not a lot, as you can see. You can, by the way, see the element of your weapons in like the top right corner over here. So if I were to switch the Arcanite sword into the Apocalypse sword, which is dark element, you are immediately going to notice a big difference in the amount of damage that I'll be dealing. Over here, let's go 1000 damage at least with every single hit. That's gonna make it way easier taking this guy out. I only need to do a couple of charge attacks here to bring it down to half HP, almost kill it even. Wow, it didn't even do its regenerating ability. So don't underestimate elemental weaknesses and definitely exploit them if you know what the boss is weak against. I will be linking a Google Sheet with every single elemental weakness of the enemies in the game, so take a look at that if you're interested. Then something else that I make use of constantly whenever I'm fighting big bosses or even smaller enemies is that whenever you use charge attacks or your special skills, you are invincible. Right now, the dragon is gonna attack me, and if I just do a charge attack, it is completely gonna miss me. Let's go for like a big tail swipe, for example. As you can see, I took 0 damage. I just waited for the right time, unleashed my charged skill, and I don't take any damage. It's going to be the exact same for the special skill. I'll do it right over here. So he's going to do the fire, literally puts it against me. I did get burned from that apparently, but I did not take any damage. So that's another pretty important to remember combat tip. Definitely make use of those invincibility frames to kill the enemies without taking any damage. Another thing that is going to be really helpful whenever you go into combat is making use of potions that boost your stats. If you want to boost your attack stat, using the Power 8 or Power Spray is the way to go. These are, in my opinion, way better than the meals you can use to boost your attack. Definitely go with the Alchemist potions. If you want to boost your attack, magic attack, magic defense, and defense. You can even boost your critical hit chance by 1000% if you make a crit 8+. So if you have access to these recipes, definitely don't hold off on making them and use them constantly. It is really easy and cheap to make these, so definitely take in all of these potions at once if you can. They are stackable. So do that every single time you're challenging a difficult boss or just a difficult group of enemies. And if you want to boost your crafting or gathering stats, you can make use of some meals as well. There are no potions to actually boost these stats, so you will have to make meals for this. The smoothie over here is by far the best thing that you can do to boost your crafting, and the fruit punch or the magical milkshake are the best meals to make to boost your gathering. It's going to increase the damage that you do by quite a lot. Over here I'm striking this for like 2000 damage if I hit the sweet spot, and if I real quick boost my gathering with the fruit punch, I'm right now hitting the sweet spot for like 2400 to 2800 damage. And it's the same for crafting. It's going to make crafting all of the recipes a lot easier if you boost it using meals. I'm going to go into a little bit more of a difficult topic maybe, and that has to do with the remaking, especially remaking tools for your crafting buddies. So let's take these 3 blacksmiths over here for example. If you have enough affinity with them, which actually is a little tip I want to give as well, boost the affinity with your crafting buddies, especially as quickly as possible. You can do it by just putting them up in houses on your base camp. So over here you can put down a total of 6 villager houses, fill those up with the crafting buddies you use most, and give them a gift every single day. That is the best way to boost their affinity. If you don't know what gift to give, the magical milkshake is the best thing that you can do to boost their love for you. And whenever their affinity over here hits 3 hearts, that is when they're gonna unlock a special ability. So for Magmia, that is improving the ability to smith metal life tools. Ian is gonna help me smith metal armor, and Bray is gonna help me smith metal weapons. And that is not something that you should underestimate. It is gonna make it considerably easier to actually make metal weapons, for example, if you use Bray. And something you can do to increase making metal weapons even easier is putting these equipment skills on the tool your buddy is using. So Bray's innate skill was already making it easier to craft metal weapons, and I put metal weapon crafter twice on the great hammer he is using. This makes it so that crafting any metal weapon goes by so quickly. You only have to do like 3 little mini games for the crafting life. Let's quickly show it off by going to the nearest workbench. So over here, for example, I want to remake one of the most difficult swords in the game. What I can do over here is going to Bray, and you can see that he has a little smiley next to him. That basically means that he is better at making this specific type of craft, so the metal weapons. So let's go ahead and equip Bray. It's going to give me 1,450 bonus points in blacksmithing, and doing that after I complete one single minigame, I already did 27% of the work. So I only need to go through 4 cycles here, and I made the most difficult weapon in the game at top quality. Something you can do to make this even easier and do it in like only 3 little mini games is you could consume the crafting boosting food, which I'll show off over here real quick. So the smoothie was going to boost our crafting. I am going to consume it, and then Ian and Bray, who are helping me out, I'm also going to give them that food. So right now, if I were to remake it, I'm going to be able to do it in like only 3 little mini games. So before we got like, I believe 27% after doing one of these, right now we get 30. So unfortunately, still not enough to actually make it in 3 mini games, but as you can see, it did definitely improve how much completion we got after doing 1 mini game, which sometimes does allow you to go from 4 mini games to like 3, which is very nice. Also, a little pro tip I want to give right here. Right now, the skills that I would want to get on the Dragon's Despair, for example, is dark damage up. And as you can see from consuming that meal, that is only going to last for like 5 or 6 crafts. But there's this weird kind of glitch going on that if you just keep remaking, so right now I need to select my skills, but after that I can click continue redoing. If you keep clicking continue redoing without selecting equipment or like finishing, the bonus stats that you get from that meal are gonna last infinitely. I don't know why that happens, but as long as you keep redoing this, that meal bonus that you got is never going to expire. So that might be something helpful to know if you're like remaking 20 times in a row. You don't need to go back and consume that meal again because it is still gonna have effect. That might be a little difficult to understand, but I'm sure some of you will get that. So that was a big portion about making tools for your crafting buddies, but something you should also do is literally have them along at any point. These buddies are the best in the entire game, even for combat and especially for gathering. And the reason why they're so good is because they allow you to keep gathering over here without ever running out of SP. So right over there, they saw that I was getting kind of low on SP, and they just restored me to like 3/4 of my total. It is literally impossible to run out of SP if you have 3 crafting buddies with you. So as long as you deal enough damage to a gathering boss, you will always be able to beat it eventually if you have crafting buddies with you, because you'll never run out of SP. Another little gathering tip over here is that whenever you see that your little tree here, for example, is getting close to actually breaking, what you want to do is finish off real big with a special skill, and that's going to give you an excellent gather. Now what that excellent gather does is it's just gonna give you more drops. So normally I might have only gotten maybe 2 oak logs, and right now I got, I think, maybe 3 old logs, a couple of berries, and an elder oak log. The excellent gathering definitely helped by boosting those drops. The thing that helped most though by increasing those drops is actually getting this item drop armor, and that's going to be the next tip. I definitely recommend making the item drop armor and the EXP armor as soon as possible, especially the EXP glasses though. As soon as you have the alchemist life, you'll have the ability to craft glasses over here, which also means that you already have access to the best method of boosting your EXP in the entire game. That's because the glasses are the only thing anything that are able to roll EXP up skills. So the only thing you need to do is keep making them until you finally roll that 10% EXP in both slots. And it's going to be the same for the armor pieces over here, but with these there is a slight difference. Whenever you have enough skill points as a blacksmith, carpenter, tailor, or alchemist, you can unlock this node over here, which allows you to use extra materials. And one of those extra materials that you can use is the trip applique over here, which is going to make it easier for item drop rate skills to appear. So the only thing you need to do is go over here, make one of the armor pieces, go to extra materials, slap the trip applique on there, and just start crafting. It should not take you that long to actually get the item drop up. Let's go and see which skills we actually got. All right, we got one item drop rate up skill. That is already what we need. Now the only thing I'd have to do is remake this piece, use the trip applique again, and hope we roll another item drop rate up. So you just need to do that for every single piece over here. And something good to know is that all of these can only roll 5%, but the cape over here can roll 10% on each slot. And the same for the glasses and accessories over here. They can also roll 10% on each slot. Another great tip is that your buddies can also equip these things. So I definitely recommend always equipping them with the glasses to get more EXP. And if you want more item drops whenever you slay monsters, you might want to equip them with the item drop armor as well. That is surely going to help you out a ton. Then for the last couple of tips over here, we're going to head back to the main island. And for the first tip, I want to mention the online play. It is actually really easy to connect to the online and head out to someone's lobby. You can even go to advanced search over here and choose if you want to explore Janamosia or do treasure groves. And the grove destination might be really helpful if you are looking for some treasure grove exclusive bosses. Maybe there's one of them up right now. Let's take a look. Doesn't really look like it, but you can also just refresh the list and hope that someone is actually hosting one of the treasure grove exclusive bosses, of which there are, I believe, only 5 in the game right now. There's, I believe, 3 fish and 2 boss monsters that you can only fight inside of these treasure groves, and they of course also have exclusive materials that only they can drop. So that is why it's really helpful to go out here searching for some lobbies. Oh, right over here, the Great Dragon Tree is technically not exclusive to the treasure groves anymore, but it's definitely not an easy thing to find. Oh, actually even better though is the High Flying Fish over here. This literally is a treasure grove exclusive boss. The lobby might be full though, because I think a lot of people are probably trying to get inside of these types of lobbies. Oh no, I'm actually able to join. That's great. So it looks like they just started out. I'm not gonna go ahead and do this complete dungeon with them because an 800-year-old dungeon is kind of difficult and it takes a while. But the only thing you need to do now is go through all of these floors, beat the final boss, and after doing so, you will also get some goddess fruits. And that's another reason why you would want to play online, because if you complete one of these treasure groves when you are playing with others, you are gonna get more goddess fruits than you would normally get when playing alone. You should get 1 additional goddess fruit for every person playing. So right now I should get 2 more than I'd get if I was playing alone. Anyways, let's not leech any longer. Let's just leave the lobby so they know I'm not actually going to participate. But yeah, that's another great reason to join others' lobbies, because getting those goddess fruits is not easy. And if you want to get every single thing in the game, which includes these makeover boxes, if you didn't know, these makeover boxes have exclusive outfits for your characters, so you can change how they look. It's actually really cool, but they cost a lot of goddess fruits. And playing online is pretty much the best way that you can actually farm these. Now, the last tip of the video is going to be planting crops as soon as you get access to the farmer life. The farmer life is the only life that has bosses that you can't find anywhere in the overworld, and you have to plant yourself. There's pretty much going to be a chance that all of these crops turn into one of these boss crops, but that chance is not that high, and you need to beat multiple of these if you want to become a master or hero farmer. If you don't know, hero rank is the final rank that you need to achieve in any life, at least as of the 1.5 update. And there's going to be some quests like these where you have to gather 5 giant mandrakes. This requires you to at least grow 3 giant mandrakes, I believe, on your farm, because if you get an excellent gather on these guys, you only get 2 of their drops. So that is absolutely ridiculous, and that's the reason why farmer life is, in my opinion, the most horrible one to rank up. If you get unlucky, it's just gonna take forever. So start planting those crops as quickly as you can. Go for those boss crops, so you're not gonna be stuck endgame with farmer life as the only life that is still, like, I don't know, flipping adept or something. And with that, that is basically going to be it. I think this was a very chaotic video. I tried fitting as much as I could in here, just to have a guy telling you a whole lot so you know what you can do in this game. Hopefully you at least learned a couple of interesting things from this video. And let me know if you have any tips that I can still talk about. I might do a part 2 of this if there are enough things I forgot to say. And of course, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more stuff just like this, definitely don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Not even 5% of the people watching my videos are actually subscribed, so I would appreciate it a lot if you would do so. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, later. Bye.